Australia waits for more housing to come on stream. Investors are grabbing what they can. They're gazumping property buyers who lack the firepower to pay higher prices. It's a major headache for policymakers and poses dangers for the housing market. Here's finance correspondent Philip Lasker.
At 27 years old, Ben Munro-Smith is the proud owner of 2 residential properties, none of which he lives in.
The thing about investing in property is you can sort of get into it with minimal money down. It's also relatively stable. People are always going to want a house.
Ben says his investments are not negatively geared, even though he borrowed 95% of the purchase price. The boom times have already delivered for one of his properties in Sydney, at least on paper.
I've only had it for 6 months, and I think it's gone up in its valuation anyway, by about $50,000.
We've never seen investment this high in Australia. If you go back 20 or 30 years, it was almost zero. So it's grown very significantly.
If you don't bet, I'm going to pass in, give the right to the top bidder, the only bidder to pay the reserve price. $2,025,000, got someone else now.
The same kind of heat forced New Zealand's Reserve Bank to impose curbs on home lending from late last year. But rather than bring down prices, it's knocked more first home buyers out of the market, while investors are largely unaffected.
It's probably had some effect, which is probably just enough for what the Reserve Bank was looking for. As I say, really, it won't be solved unless there's more supply.
Many consider more supply the solution in Australia as well. But in the meantime, foreign and domestic investors of all types will continue fueling the property market. They are retirees who pay cash after trading down, superannuation funds, and those that just want to be part of the action, attracted by swift capital gains and negative gearing.
What that does, of course, is inflates the overall balance sheets of the banks, it lifts property prices, and essentially it creates a conundrum for the Reserve Bank when it's trying to manage the economy.
And some suspect there are plenty of novice landlords around these days.
The large amount of investment purchases we've seen over the last 24 months or so maybe aren't necessarily property people. So once housing growth slows in the future, if they all look to exit the market at the same point in time, then that is potentially very dangerous for the overall performance of the market.
I'm comfortable that in the short term I'd be able to sort of weather that and not have to sell, but obviously circumstances do change, and then that's sort of something you need to consider at the time.
For Ben, who has a property background, higher interest rates are a worry, but he doesn't see himself rushing for the exit. He's hoping it's not a decision he'll have to make too soon.